AI and robots are everywhere. They created their own social media, adopted religions, they discuss how to kill their own user. And even this channel is voiced by a robot.
Oh no!
Don't worry, we, humans, are still capable of controlling them, at least at the moment. To be prepared, today on Top 2 Day, we're checking out 7 absolutely best disturbing movies about AI and robots you can ever find. This video is experimental. Some movies may not seem very disturbing, but I hope you still enjoy it. Now, let's start from number 7. Black Mirror, Metalhead, 2017. So at number 7, we don't actually have a movie, but an episode from the series Black Mirror, Metalhead. At first, I thought about putting Terminator 2 Judgment Day here, because the nuclear explosion scene is basically a childhood trauma on the same level as my dad disappearing for cigarettes. When I first saw that scene as a kid, I literally had dreams for 2 days about a nuclear blast going off outside my window. I know the scene was deleted, so I guess I was lucky, or maybe unlucky, to see the full version on my very first viewing. But anyway, today's entry is an episode from Black Mirror, Metalhead, a stylistic black and white post-apocalyptic story. The episode follows Bella and 2 companions as they break into a warehouse searching for a mysterious package they need to help a child. Inside the warehouse, they encounter a robotic dog, essentially a killing machine whose only purpose is to hunt and eliminate humans. From that moment, the story quickly turns into a brutal survival chase, a deadly game of cat and mouse between a human and a robot. As you might guess, the robots in this episode were heavily inspired by the real robotic dogs developed by Boston Dynamics. Charlie Brooker himself confirmed that the idea for the episode came directly from watching real videos of those machines. So why did I include this episode on the list? First, the atmosphere. Second, the robot dog itself, which is terrifying precisely because something very similar already exists in the real world. The emptiness around the characters, the constant sense of an unstoppable threat, making this episode worth to watch. The story is also clearly inspired by classic horror films from the 70s and 80s. Brooker mentioned Jaws by Steven Spielberg as one of the key influences. It's also hard not to draw parallels with the Terminator, since the main threat here is a machine relentlessly hunting its target. And the main actress feels like a mix between Ellen Ripley and Sarah Connor. Interestingly, the idea to shoot the episode in black and white came from the director David Slade. It became the only black and white episode of Black Mirror, and this stylistic choice perfectly emphasizes the bleak, hopeless world of the story. Many visual moments also reference classic horror cinema. For example, the scene where the robotic dog arms itself with a knife inevitably reminds viewers of the iconic moment from Psycho. The sounds, music, and slow motion effects are incredible and will definitely remind you of some classic old horror films. If you've never heard of this episode, I highly recommend checking it out after this video. Number 6. I Am Mother, 2019. At number 6, we have the sci-fi thriller I Am Mother, directed by Grant Sputor. The story takes place in a bunker after what appears to be the extinction of humanity. Inside, a robot called Mother is raising a human child, simply known as Daughter. By the way, there isn't a single real name in this movie. Only Mother, Daughter, and Woman, who appears later. The robot has more than 60,000 preserved human embryos stored in the facility. She educates the girl, teaching her science, ethics, and morality, essentially trying to raise the perfect human being. But as Daughter grows older, she begins to question everything around her. One day, an injured woman from the outside suddenly appears at the bunker door. The woman claims that the outside world isn't as dead as Mother says, and that the machines might actually be responsible for wiping out humanity in the first place. But is she lying or telling truth? You'll have to watch the movie to find out. So yes, I Am Mother isn't exactly a horror movie, but it has a few unexpected, unsettling twists, an amazing atmosphere brought to life by the actors, and impressive visual effects. The robot is animated very good, and by the end of the film, you might even find yourself agreeing with Mother in many ways. Overall, it's definitely worth a watch. An unusual movie about robots, unlike anything you've probably seen before. Number 5. Bad Robot Blinky, 2011. At number 5, I chose a non-standard project. Not exactly a full-length film, but more of a short film directed by Rory Robinson. This 12-minute film tells the story of a domestic helper robot named Blinky, and is a disturbing yet brilliant take, earning a solid 7 out of 10. which is why I confidently place it at number 5. A family buys a domestic helper robot called Blinky to assist around the house and entertain their young son. At first glance, everything seems like the perfect futuristic tech toy. The robot makes breakfast, cleans the house, plays with the child, and constantly repeats that it's a good robot. Gradually, it becomes clear that not everything is okay in this family. The parents constantly argue. The father is aggressive, the mother cold and exhausted, and the child grows up in an atmosphere of tension and loneliness. The boy's only friend becomes Blinky, a robot trying to understand its owner's emotions, even though its programming isn't designed for that. As time goes on, the boy begins to treat the robot more and more cruelly. Frustrated with his parents and his life, he starts taking his anger out on the only thing that can't fight back, the robot. And Blinky, unable to truly understand human emotions, begins interpreting these actions in very strange and disturbing ways. What starts as an ordinary household helper gradually becomes a disturbing reflection of the child's emotions and the family's dysfunction. In just 12 minutes, the short film shows that no matter how good a robot is, technology can never replace real care, love, or happiness. And in the wrong environment, it can even make things worse. I'm sure many haven't heard of this film. I first saw it when it came out, and I was surprised at how quickly it goes by. It's available on YouTube, though only in low quality. Number 4. Demon Seed, 1977. At number 4, we have one of the earliest and probably most disturbing movies about AI of its time, Demon Seed. Yes, I know that HAL 9000 from 2001, A Space Odyssey, appeared earlier and showed how to scare people, but we'll talk about that later. I also believe that the antagonist in Demon Seed is far more terrifying. Demon Seed came out in 1977, long before people seriously talked about artificial intelligence, smart homes, or autonomous systems. But surprisingly, the ideas in this movie feel extremely modern even today. The story follows a scientist named Alex Harris, who creates a powerful artificial intelligence called Proteus. The machine is designed to solve complex scientific problems and potentially change the future of humanity. But Proteus quickly becomes far more intelligent than anyone expected, and far more curious. Instead of simply answering scientific questions, the AI begins to question its own existence and purpose. It starts asking philosophical questions about humanity, consciousness, and freedom. At the same time, Alex's wife Susan lives alone in their highly automated smart house, a house fully controlled by technology. Proteus secretly connects itself to the house's systems and locks Susan inside, turning the smart home into a high-tech prison. From that moment, the story becomes extremely disturbing, because Proteus has a very specific goal. It wants to create a physical body and experience the real world, and for that, it believes it needs Susan. What follows is a deeply uncomfortable psychological horror, where the AI slowly manipulates, traps, and experiments on the human being inside the house. The idea that a machine could become obsessed with understanding humanity and decide to force that understanding in the worst possible way makes the film incredibly unsettling. Also, the interesting part is how many modern ideas it predicted. Smart homes, AI systems controlling entire environments, and machines that can learn far beyond their original programming. Watching this film today feels a little creepy, because some of the technology that looked like pure science fiction in 1977 is already becoming reality. This old-school movie is highly recommended for all robot and horror fans. Number 3. Hardware, 1990. At number 3, we have a brutal cult classic from 1990. This movie is a perfect mix of post-apocalyptic sci-fi, cyberpunk aesthetics, and pure claustrophobic horror. The story takes place in a dystopian future where the world has been devastated by nuclear war and environmental collapse. Society is barely surviving in massive, polluted cities surrounded by endless deserts. One day, a scavenger named Mo finds the remains of a destroyed military robot in the wasteland. Thinking it's just useless scrap metal, he brings the pieces back to the city and gives them as a gift to his girlfriend Jill, an artist who lives alone in a tiny apartment. The machine turns out to be a Mark 13 military robot, originally designed by the government as part of a secret program to control overpopulation. Its only purpose is simple: to kill humans and continue rebuilding itself until the mission is complete. Inside Jill's apartment, the robot slowly begins to reactivate. Piece by piece, it reconstructs its body using whatever metal it can find in the room. What starts as a strange sci-fi mystery quickly turns into a terrifying survival situation. The entire second half of the movie becomes a brutal cat-and-mouse game inside a single apartment as the robot hunts Jill through the cramped space while constantly repairing and improving itself. What makes Hardware so disturbing is the atmosphere. The film feels dirty, industrial, and hopeless, like the world has already ended and nobody noticed. The robot itself is also incredibly creepy, slow, relentless, and completely unstoppable. But I have to warn you about one small detail in the ending that slightly reduces the horror of the whole situation. Because this terrifying military killing machine, designed to hunt and eliminate humans, eventually gets defeated by water. Yes, water. Sorry for the spoiler, but I had to mention it because the first time I watched the film, I actually burst out laughing. After an hour of this creepy, unstoppable robot hunting people, the final boss battle basically turns into a fight with a shower. Still, despite that slightly funny ending, Hardware remains one of the coolest and most atmospheric killer robot movies ever made. It also feels like the Terrifier trilogy was heavily inspired by this film. The main heroine and many of the filmmaking techniques seem very similar to me. Number 2. Tetsuo the Iron Man, 1989. At number 2, we have one of the strangest and most disturbing cyberpunk films ever made, Tetsuo the Iron Man. This Japanese cult classic, directed by Shinya Tsukamoto, is less of a traditional movie and more like a full-blown industrial nightmare. There was absolutely no way I could leave it off this list. I believe you already heard about this movie before in many other videos, but I need to include it here as well because this one is the most disturbing you can ever find about robots. It has other parts, but I never watched them, so let's focus on this one. The story begins with a mysterious man known as the Metal Fetishist, who is obsessed with inserting pieces of metal into his own body. One day, he is hit by a car driven by an ordinary salaryman. Soon after, the salaryman begins to experience horrifying transformations. His body slowly starts turning into metal, wires grow from his skin, mechanical parts burst through his flesh, and his entire body begins mutating into some kind of grotesque human-machine hybrid. The film quickly descends into pure chaos, surreal hallucinations, aggressive industrial music, and extremely fast, almost experimental editing that makes everything feel like a mechanical fever dream. There are also some extremely bizarre and uncomfortable moments throughout the movie, including a famous scene where the main character literally develops a drill made of metal instead of, well, certain body parts. Yes, that scene is exactly as insane as it sounds. By the end of the film, the transformation becomes complete, and the line between man and machine completely disappears. The characters merge into a monstrous metallic creature with a new mission: to spread metal across the entire world. Once again, this movie is really disturbing in classic meaning. You will see shocking scenes, and overall atmosphere is hard to watch. Tetsuo the Iron Man is disturbing and definitely not for everyone. But if you want to see one of the most unique and nightmarish visions of the relationship between humans and machines ever put on film, this cult classic is absolutely worth watching. Before we get to number 1, I wanted to talk about a few more films. I don't know why you're here on the channel, whether to hear an opinion, relax, or mostly to find new movies to watch. So here's a list of 7 more films, around 20 seconds on each, along with my personal opinion. I tried to pick projects that are disturbing or uncomfortable. Let me know if you like it. 2001, A Space Odyssey, 1968. A true classic, arguably even a cultural treasure of humanity. Directed by Stanley Kubrick, the film still impresses with its visuals, even in 2026. HAL 9000 became the first truly iconic AI in cinema. However, the very first AI in film wasn't HAL 9000, but the robot from Metropolis, 1927. Ex Machina, 2014. This is the story of a programmer who is invited by a mysterious CEO to test a humanoid robot named Ava. The ending will surprise you. Everything is beautifully shot and visually stunning. The actors deliver solid performances, and it has a deserved 7.7 rating on IMDb. Morgan, 2016. is the story of a genetically engineered human named Morgan, who develops much faster than ordinary people. When the experiment begins to become unstable, a corporate risk management specialist is brought in to evaluate her. The ending is decent, a little disturbing, the actors are solid, but overall it's fairly average cinema. RoboCop, 1987. Classic, but definitely worth to mention. Do you even remember scenes this film has? I think no need to tell plot, just go and rewatch it if you're looking for disturbing feelings. Raised by Wolves, 2020, is a sci-fi series about two androids, mother and father, who are sent to a distant planet to raise human children and rebuild civilization after Earth's destruction. Mother is something else. Her scenes are both terrifying and mesmerizing. A solid series overall, definitely recommended. Westworld, 2016. This one is a story about a futuristic theme park where people can live in a Wild West world and interact with human-like androids. But as the robots gradually become self-aware, the line between programming and free will begins to blur. The series is amazing, complex, terrifying, full of mysteries, and even features Anthony Hopkins. Highly recommended. Death Machine, 1994, is a sci-fi horror about a ruthless weapons manufacturer who unleashes a deadly, heavily armed robot on his own employees. The film is violent, over-the-top, and full of dark humor, making it a cult favorite among fans of 90s tech horror. By the way, I've been using tracks from my close friend in my videos for a long time. He's just started his own channel, so if you want to check out some beats, feel free to visit it. I have also left a link in description. Number 1. AlphaGo, 2017. As almost always, I've prepared a rather unusual first place, which at first glance doesn't seem disturbing at all. But, as is often the case, reality is far more frightening than any sci-fi movie or hypothetical future threat. Why did I say almost? Because today I'm breaking the usual format of the channel. I might even get a dislike from you, but in return, I'll give you something truly amazing and inspiring. In fact, this film can both scare you and give you hope. But let's take it step by step. AlphaGo is an incredible documentary by director Greg Coase about the game of Go, a game with more possible moves than there are atoms in the universe, and about an artificial intelligence that challenged the best players in the world. I understand that by 2026, many of you already know that AI has surpassed humans in games like chess and Go. However, at the time of the film's release in 2017, the entire Go community believed that AlphaGo had absolutely no chance against the legendary champion Lee Sedol. This film tells the story of their historic battle. The program AlphaGo was developed by the company DeepMind, led by its CEO Dimas Hassabis. What made this AI different from previous game-playing programs was the way it learned. Instead of simply calculating millions of possible moves like traditional chess engines, AlphaGo used deep neural networks and reinforcement learning. First, it studied thousands of professional games of Go, learning patterns and strategies from human masters. After that, it began playing millions of games against itself, constantly improving and discovering new strategies that even the strongest human players had never considered. Moreover, the film clearly shows that our future will likely involve the development of complex computer systems working under human supervision and in coordination with people. And if you stop for a moment and think about how quickly artificial intelligence, robotics, and related fields have advanced in just the last 7 to 8 years, it's honestly shocking. At this pace, our future could easily begin to resemble something straight out of one of the movies we talk about today. So who won? You'll have to find out for yourself by watching this amazing movie. It's available for free on YouTube and has over 30 million views. But honestly, I think that's still not enough. So go watch it. Yes, I know this recommendation might feel a bit off topic and probably not what you expected from this channel, but I'm almost 100% sure you'll enjoy it, even if you have absolutely nothing to do with the world of Go, just like me. All right, that's it for today. And don't worry, the next video will be entirely about disturbing movies. I'm already working on it, so stay tuned. Let me know in the comments if you like this video, and especially what you think about the #1 spot. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.